Welcome to another episode of Trending Up with Edgar de Leon and Sebastián Lopez. We hope you enjoy and are challenged to live life differently as you keep trending up. Hey everyone, before you get into the episode, I do want to let you know that my audio portion is rough. Don't know what happened when we were recording, but I promise you that for the next episodes, it will get back to normal. So hopefully you can bear with it. And we hope that you enjoy this topic of the Enneagram. Hey Trenders, welcome to another episode of Trending Up. We're very excited to be back with you. We hope you're having a better day than I am. I guess it's here, right? I was trying to feed Zoe, who is right next to me. So if you hear her, it's because she wanted to be in the room with me. I hit my head trying to feed her and busted it open. So
I would have stretched the truth a little bit and said how you were defending your dog from attack from an alligator attack.
From an alligator attack,
there in Florida. Yeah. That's what I would have said, man. No one would know the difference.
That's true. You should see how the alligator.
That's true.
What happened to the alligator?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, but we're excited to be back. We hope that you've been enjoying the episodes, and today we're going to start I guess we can say a series. Talking about something that's been pretty dear to us and something that we stumbled upon and that's helped us in our friendship, in our marriages, and just kind of getting to know ourselves too. And it's the Enneagrams or Enneagrams. I don't know how you say Edgar, but Enneagrams. I have no idea. But
no, we just roll with it, man. Someone
just
will write us an email.
Like, that's wrong. Yeah. So I think it's Enneagram. So for those of you that don't know, to this topic today, we're talking about Enneagrams, and we're going to release 9 different episodes. Shorter episodes talking about each Enneagram, and we'll discuss what it is right now. But why we're doing this, right? Why is it that we're wanting to spend time and so much time in episodes in Enneagrams? Why is that, Edgar? If you want to answer that.
Yeah. So a lot of times we think that we know ourselves, like we think we understand like our hearts, and like I've really come to the conclusion that it's not that we know ourselves. We may think we know we ourselves, but really a lot of times people around you know about your temperaments a little bit better than yourself. And best of all, God knows more than us. So there's this idea presented in Psalms 44 verses 20 and 21. It says, "If we had forgotten the name of our God, or spread out our hands to a foreign god, would not God discover this? For he knows the secrets of the heart." So this is the idea of that God knows our hearts better than we do. So I've really come to understand myself a little bit better when I understand these personality types. And everybody has like different ones different exams that you've taken, like Myers-Briggs or 16PF and all these. But the Enneagram was one that really is being used by like church leaders and just businesses on how to understand people's personalities. And what we're going to discuss is not a foolproof 100%. This is just if you're this number or whatever. That doesn't mean that you're just limited to that, but it gives us an understanding of where you're coming from. So we want to learn more about ourselves to understand like our disappointments and our frustrations, and also how to understand others, because we may look like like we're the same in the sense that we have 2 eyes, 2 ears, a mouth, but we're really all unique and different. And I think this is very beneficial for us, Sebastian. It's helped to Sebastian. Like, this has helped me understand you, Sebastian, and also to encourage you and also to empower you to continue to grow and so forth. And I know likewise for you and myself. So, anyways, so that's what this is why we're diving into Enneagrams,
to get to know ourselves more and to be able to know how to relate better with others, right? To have successful relationships, which I think we're all about in trending up, right? Just to trend up, to become more better in every aspect of life, especially in faith as we get closer to God. But pretty much what an Enneagram is, it's kind of like Edgar said, right? It's like the personality exam, except this one is divided into 9 different numbers, and each number is a distinct personality type. It is common when you are, and we're going to link the free exam that we've taken. It's not a comprehensive one. It's a simpler one. It's a shorter one, but it kind of really gets to you. I think it's really got into us, and it really does describe us. But it's common to find a little of yourself in all 9 types. right? But pretty much what this is, the number that you are given a percentage of different numbers. And I've made probably 40 to 50 people with Chantal and I. We've had 40 or 50 people take this, and it's been really cool to have our friends and families take this and then see what they are. But what it is pretty much the number that you get, and we'll talk about what each number stands for. Was developed, right? This personality trait was developed in, if you're watching the video, Zoe's licking the mics. The personality types were developed in your childhood, right? So how you dealt with fear and anger and shame and how you dealt with others, like this personality is who you became, right? So it's very important to see that. And anything else you want to add about this, Edgar?
I think that when we understand that we're all like have our different like personalities, we can really like appreciate each one another, and we can really understand one another. And this is like seen at a very young age. Like my son, I don't know if for those listeners can hear him stomping around upstairs because I'm in my basement. His personality really, it's going to develop more and more, but you can see a lot of the roots of who he is already. And this is something that starts at a very young age, but develops. And this exam helps you understand like your own personality and gives you the number like a 1 or 2. For example, I'm a 3. Sebastian, what number are you?
I'm a 9.
You're a 9. Yeah. So we're going to describe that in a minute. We're not talking in like Morse code.
Right. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
So something about the Enneagram that we need to understand is that this is a spectrum. So again, it's not foolproof. It's not 100% you're a certain number, a certain personality, but it's a spectrum. And the numbers is determined by not by your gender, but the numbers are what you would say like gender neutral in a sense. The numbers don't just depend on your gender. So what else do we know about?
Yeah, for sure. Once you're taking the exam, that if you're taking the one that we're going to link in it, that we're linking in the show notes, you will find that there's some of the questions you don't identify with the complete description, right? So you're going to say, that's not me completely. But the reality is not everything in the description of your basic type will apply to you. And why is that? Because in each number, for example, I'm a 9. 9s can have healthy, they have average, and they have unhealthy traits. We're not going to get into that too deep because it's just, we're going to link the Enneagram Institute that really goes into it really deep and in depth for you. But that's something for you to just think about and say, okay, am I a healthy 9 or am I an average 9 or an unhealthy trait? And depending on that, you will find yourself, right? So not everything in your description of the number that you receive will identify you. Also, they chose numbers just because numbers are neutral, so they didn't want to, really show that one was different. Whatever, it was just numbers for neutral purposes. The ranking of the numbers. I know this is sometimes, I'm a 9, and then I know someone that's a 1. They're like, "What? You think you're better than me because you're higher and you're bigger?" And it's like that has nothing to do with what is going on. All it is just random not ordering. And they just had to do a numbering from 1 to 9. So it doesn't mean that 9 is the one that you want to achieve, because the reality is you can't change number. Like, this is who you are. So the core of it is that no type is inherently better or worse than the other. I've talked to friends and people that have, taken it, and they're like, I just don't want to be a 4, or why do I have to be an 8, or why can't I be something else? And the reality is it's not about like what number is better or what number has it together, because every number has strengths and weaknesses. And we'll talk about that when we're actually in the actual episodes for those numbers. But what's important to realize is that even though you may not be happy with your particular type, you have to understand that this is you. Like, this is your normal, right? This is you. So don't look at it as in like, man, I wish I was different. No, this is you. Embrace it. There's strengths and beautiful things to every number that we'll talk about. And there's connections that we'll make at each episode to biblical characters, so that you can see how those biblical characters reacted and related and whatnot. So the ideal is to become your best self, not to imitate the assets of another type. And I think that's really cool, because it, in the people that I've taken it with and we've talked, like, we've been able to highlight and say, hey man, like, you're very in tune with your feelings, and I wish I was more like that. Or you just know how to get things done. Like, I just beat around the bush sometimes. And so we're able to really see, okay, like, hey, I appreciate your strength, and you have this strength. And maybe in a team, if you're working in a team or at a church or with just in your friends and your family, you're trying to see the dynamics of your family. This really helps you to see, like, okay, who should we put in charge of planning the trip? who should we put in charge of, the activities for fun? You know what I'm saying? So different things like that. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to ask the church leaders in the individual churches that I serve to take, and so I can understand them better.
Right.
I mean, I can minister to them better as their pastor. Right. So this is something that's very, very, very valuable. Right. So now we talked about the personality test, the Enneagram. Now we're gonna describe quickly the what each number represents from 1 through 9, and give a quick description of those that have taken the test and have found out that they're a certain number, a description of what that number represents. So I'll start off with the first one. The first Enneagram type is obviously 1. Mm-hmm. And this person is could be generalized or spoken as a reformer, someone who's principled, who's purposeful, who's self-controlled, and perfectionistic. So this is someone who's definitely, that they're the calm, cool, collected kind of person. And yeah, that's who they are. So if you scored a 1, you typically have those principles in your life.
And they're the people that will always be like, you stop on red, you go on green. So it's like you're very principled. You're like, there is always a right and wrong. It is black and white. There is no gray area. It's black and white. So
yeah. And I thought that was a generational thing, but it's not. It's not that the person has a stick up their butt, but that they're just pardon that expression. But the idea is that you sometimes think the reformer is the one that's like he's just too intense, but that's actually the personality. So you have to understand where they come from.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want the builder of your house to be the anti-reformer, right? You want the reformer. You want the person who's going to do the job right. Or the lawyer. You want the
lawyers would be the 1 and probably an 8. But then we go to type 2. Type 2 are the helpers. Yeah. It's the people that are always thinking about others. So, you go to a party and they're always like, hey guys, what should I bring for snacks? What do you think I should, do you guys, what do you need? So they're the helper. They're generous, demonstrative, they're people pleasing, and they can be at times possessive. And we'll get into all these. I know it's exciting, but we'll get into all these in depth a little later. So that's 2.
Yeah. And then type 3. So we'll be sharing, Sebastian. All right. I'll do type 3.
Yeah.
The type 3 is the achiever.
Yeah.
The achiever is someone who's adaptable, who's excelling, who's driven, and image conscious.
Are you a 3? What were you again?
Yeah. I'm a 3. I'm a 3. So I am definitely someone who.
But you're a go-getter. You're a doer. Yeah. You're a doer.
Yeah, I'm a doer, but I'm also very I'm very conscious about my image, which brings a lot of negativity into it if you take it the wrong way. So I am an achiever, and oh man, I can't wait to talk about this in the following episodes, because you're gonna learn a lot. For our listeners, you're gonna learn a lot about myself individually. Yeah, because the good and the ugly.
Then we have then we have type 4. Type 4 is the individualist, and they believe that the people that have done these exams, that number 4 is the number that is least represented in the United States. So they're a few, but they're less compared to the other numbers. They are considered the artists, right? They're in tune with their feelings. They're adaptable, excelling, driven, and I'm sorry, that was 3. Number 4 are expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental. So we'll talk about it. But 4s are essential because they help all the other numbers stay in tune with their feelings and how to actually get to the core of stuff. But at the same time, they can be known as the romantics. They're always in their feelings, looking out the window when it's snowing, things like that. So that's a 4.
Yeah.
The individualist.
Yeah, that's a 4. And then the 5, if you scored a 5 in the Enneagram test, you can be considered the investigator. You are perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. A 5 is someone who typically is very they want to make sure they understand something, and they're not just going to take your word for it. They're going to understand it, but they also can be isolated. So they may just be to themselves and be themselves. So The next is
The
obviously
next is six, type six, the loyalist. They are engaging, they're responsible, but they can be anxious and suspicious. So
yeah.
they desire safety. But yeah, so the loyalist, but they're very loyal.
Oh
So
no, and the loyalist also values loyalty, as that's the number
yeah,
one.
that's fun. You
If you
break loyalty, and
yeah, you break loyalty to the loyalist, you're not gonna be able to, you're not gonna be trusted.
right,
You just won't.
it's
And
tough. Exactly.
so
Yeah.
so
Right.
that
Right.
is
Right.
the most valuable thing that you can give to a
Yeah.
loyalist is your
Right.
loyalty. And
Loyalty. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know this very well because of my wife. My wife is a six. Anyways,
Uh
so
oh.
we
Right.
can talk
Seven.
about that later. All right, seven.
Number seven is the enthusiast. This is my wife. I'm also a 9 and 7 because you have different percentages, and your top
Yeah.
two. Mine top is 9, but yeah, enthusiast. And the sevens are spontaneous. They're versatile. They're acquisitive and scattered at times, just because they're always trying to have a good time. So where's the good time? Where's the party at? Where's the excitement? Where's the crowd of people? So
Yeah.
sevens are all about being kind of the life of the party and being in the midst of energy, right, and life and stuff. So
Yeah.
seven.
So I would assume that they're more of an extrovert, right? They get
Right,
power,
right,
they
right,
get
right, right.
energy
Yeah,
from,
they
they
probably
get
get,
some, yeah.
yeah, potentially,
Okay,
yeah,
and then yeah, attention. And anyways, so we'll break them down
yeah,
more as we
as we
go
go.
through the episodes. And then type 8 is the challenger. The 8 is someone who's
Uh-oh,
self-confident,
yeah.
who's decisive, willful, and
Uh-oh, yeah,
confrontational.
right, right.
Yeah, innate is what some people would say a natural born
Yeah,
leader if you're a
right,
man, but sometimes we think of women,
yeah.
right? And they, if someone
They're
is
too scary.
self
Yeah, yeah,
confident,
yeah.
decisive, willful, they are considered not a good
Right,
thing, which
right,
is not something I
right,
believe
right.
in. It's something that's why the Enneagram is not gender associated, but it's actually just regardless of your
Yeah,
gender. This is someone who's a natural born
yeah.
leader, someone who gets things done, and so forth. So we're going to
Type
discuss
8,
the
yeah.
strengths and weaknesses
And
in
then you have
later
type
episodes.
9, which is the final one, the peacemaker, which is very interesting, kind of contrasting with the 8, because the 8 is known to be confrontational and say it with the chest, and nine's like, I'll do whatever you guys want. I don't really care about what my thoughts. And I'm a 9, so yeah, that's me. So
And
peacemaker,
that's you, right, Sebastian?
receptive,
Yeah.
reassuring,
Yeah.
complacent, and resign. So you don't really always know what a 9 is wanting to do, because they're always wanting to do what everyone else wants. So, but we have a couple things here we want to share, just so kind
Yeah.
of see it.
Yeah.
So for example, I'll go. You can do one. I'll do one, Edgar, if you want. I want to do hotel toiletries because it's funny. So this is each type with hotel toiletries. So you go to hotel, and type 1 says type 1 considers if they should use toiletries, right? Should I use it or should I not? That's the type 1. Type 2 says the type 2 makes sure that you have what you need before they use them. So, okay, do I have it? Is everything there? Does everyone else have what they need? Okay. You don't need, okay, you need shampoo. I'll give you my shampoo. So they're making sure that everyone is taken care of before they use it for themselves. Type 3, they actually buy travel size salon toiletries so that they don't have to, so that they don't have to use the hotel ones, because they're like, I can do it myself. I'll just go do it myself. Type 4 compares every hotel to that one hotel they went to that had artisan toiletries. So they get to the hotel like, oh, I remember that one when I was a kid that my grandparents used to take me to. Those were good times. So comparing and just kind of daydreaming. And type 5s figure out why the only scent hotels always use is lemon verbena. So they're thinking like, why do they always use this, man? I wonder if there's an actual thing behind it. So they're very, analytical. Type 6 says hotel toiletries are not worth the risk. So they're not trusting. They kind of, what do they put in it? Is it actually soap? Type 7s, they feel obligated to use every single item available to them. They're like, it's adventure. We have to use it's there for us. We have to use it, every single thing. A type 8 says they think it's weird that we're overcomplicating hotel toiletries, just does what they want. So like, why, that's just too much. I'm just gonna do whatever. I don't have to be told which to use and whatnot. It's whatever. And type 9, which I see myself doing this. They use the tiniest amount of each item to make sure no one is negatively impacted by their actions. So type 9s are always thinking about other people. So they're like, okay, I'm going to use a little bit so that everyone else can have enough. And so kind of there, you can probably find yourself, you may be like, oh, that's not 100% me, but maybe there it is. And so that's hotel toiletries for each type.
So let me put my glasses on because my stigmatism gets the best of me. All right, I can see now. All right. We're gonna give the descriptions of how each Enneagram type how each Enneagram type reacts to going to the beach. So a one would when going to a beach would say, rinse off your feet before you go into the house. So you're very aware of cleanliness and so forth. So number two, when they go to the beach, they say, here, use my sunscreen. I've got plenty of snacks for everyone. No need to pay me back. So you see the taking it for the team, right? And then number three is says, I'm just gonna do a teeny tiny bit of work before everyone else wakes up in the morning, and this is how I eat clean while on vacation. So image conscious, working a lot, trying to achieve stuff.
Right.
A four, when they go to a beach, says they go to the most secluded area and stares off into the ocean. Hours go by. This is magnificent. Oh man, it's kind of like a hippie, right? Anyways, all right. In a five, a five when they go to the beach says they're collecting seashells and leaves and noting the bird prints. The six says I have SPF 100 if you need it. Right. Very aware of
very safe. Trying to take the safe course and being aware.
And then number seven says, when they're at the beach, they say, let me bury you in the sand. And when strangers walk by, you can feel weird things. You can yell weird things at them. It'll be funny. Just
adventure.
Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment.
Right. Never a dull moment with seven.
And eight says, I bet I could hold my head underwater for 5 minutes, And then a nine says, I think I'm going to stay in this time. You all have fun, right? The number 9 is the one that makes sure that someone is able to drive the car without being all sandy. Think about others. Anyways, so that's the intro to Enneagrams.
I just want to say that the bottom line, real quick, before we move on, there is is that no number is better than the other. Just want to make that clear as we go into this. That don't think like, oh man, I have number 2. Why am I 5? Or the reality is that your number is unique to you, and just embrace it. And the cool thing about this, and the reason we're spending time doing this, is that because we want you to know your strengths, right, and know what you're good at. And you probably know what your strengths are, but you also to know your weaknesses so that you can be aware and you can prepare accordingly, right? So if your number tends to be one that is more confrontational and always wants to take over in situations, you can just be more aware and say, hey, I got to make sure that my 9s, I'm watching over for my 9s and that I'm not overtaking and overstepping my boundaries. Or as a 9, for me, I want to be more aware to voice my opinion and be heard, right? So knowing your weaknesses and what can be your unhealthy traits will help you. And I think it's good to know other numbers that you can relate with others better. So we'll talk a little bit when we get to our personal numbers and with our wives and whatnot. And then see, hey, with Chantal, right? Hey, she's a 7, I'm a 9. How do you relate? Or Edgar with a 3 and a 6, right? How do they relate? And so you can be, Chantal started doing this now where she's like, when we're talking or choosing something, she's like, no, but what do you want to do, right? Because as a 9, I'm always like, I don't care, whatever you want, right? So, the reality is you won't understand someone's disappointment if you don't understand their expectations and understanding what, more about them. So with that, we're going to leave you here with these, the intro to Enneagrams, and we'll jump into Enneagram 1 in the following episode. We love you guys. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Thanks for joining us today. Make sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Please rate us and share our content. Learn more about us by checking out our website. The link is in our show notes. From us to you, muchas gracias, and always keep trending up.